Hey everyone, welcome back to Carrie's Thrifty Farmhouse. If you like decorating on a budget, you're in the right place. I just passed the 3-month mark for my channel, so I wanted to take a minute to thank all my supporters because I recently hit a milestone of 400 subscribers. When I started out, I thought I'd be lucky to get 100 subscribers, so I am totally blown away by all the support. I'm having so much fun and learned a ton along the way. I definitely want to do some sort of giveaway when I reach 500, so I would love for you to share, and help me grow my channel even more. Well, this week totally got away from me with virtual school for my boys, but I wanted to hop on to share a really quick gnome project you can do in under an hour. And of course, if you enjoy this video, I would love for you to like, comment, and hopefully subscribe so I can grow my channel. Now with all the formalities out of the way, let's get started. For today's project, I'm making 2 woodland gnomes with galvanized hats and moss beards. I started out by cutting a cone shape from 2 of the foil cookie sheets you can get at Dollar Tree. I had done this previously, so I just traced from the previous pan, but you can easily do this by creating a makeshift compass with a string and a marker to form the shape. It's basically 1/4 of a circle. Then I just cut the sheets out. Then I formed the hats by bending the sheets into cone shapes. The only thing you have to be careful of is not to press too firmly, as that creates creases in the foil. A few creases does give it character though, so don't worry too much. After making sure they were the right size to fit the containers, I flattened them back out and then folded the edges around to form little brims to the hats. It was just about 1/4 inch, which I folded flat. I'll bend it back out later once it's bent back into the cone shape. Then I just reformed the hat and glued it closed with hot glue. Be careful because this is metal, and as we learned in science class back in the day, metal conducts heat, so it can burn you through the metal even if you don't touch the hot glue directly. For the bodies, I snagged these cool glass containers from Dollar Tree. They're narrower at the bottom and have a nice round shape, so I thought when inverted they'd make perfect little gnome bodies. I painted the glass with my favorite elephant colored chalk paint by the Waverly brand. I'm getting to the bottom of my container, but every time I go to Walmart recently, they've been sold out of this color, so hopefully they get it in before I run out. We're going to be covering this with moss, so coverage doesn't really have to be perfect here. I wanted the hats to have a cool galvanized look, so I'm using the same technique I've used many times before and started out by covering the hats with the same charcoal gray elephant color of chalk paint by the Waverly brand. Just 1 coat is enough since we're layering on many different colors in this technique. It's okay if some of the metal shows through. Once I was finished with the first layer of paint, I headed to Volunteers of America because the last Tuesday of every month is half off day and I didn't want to miss the extra deals. I think at the end of this video I'm going to share some of my haul and the ideas I have for them, so if you're interested in that, be sure to stick around. So when I returned, the paint was dry and ready for the next step. I used a dry sponge to add on a metallic silver color. I love Martha Stewart's metallic paint. A little goes a long way. I think I've had this one container for over 5 years, and although the original container was replaced along the way at some point, I've only used about half the paint. Using the dry sponge allows there to be places where the darker color shows through. This is perfect to achieve the weathered look we're going for, and the texture to these metal sheets really brings out the different colors in this technique. The next color is a graphite gray color. Here I'm using the Apple Barrel brand, which is super affordable, only about 50 cents at Walmart. The color is the same tone as the silver color, but has a matte finish, so the hats are taking on that weathered look that we love. I'm just dabbing this on more sparingly than the silver color, just here and there around the container. Finally, I'm using a nutmeg brown color and adding it sparingly around the hats to give them a slight rusted look. I'm concentrating on the areas that would see the most wear, like around the brim and anywhere where there are creases in the metal. Next, I used hot glue to attach the hats to their glass containers. Then I used these wood beads for the noses. There were several sizes to a pack I got on Amazon, and I chose the one that's just about 1 inch in diameter. Since we're gluing something round to something flat, I used a combination of E6000 and hot glue for a stronger hold. Next, I'm using my glue gun to cover the remainder of the containers with the moss. This is a little messy, so I definitely recommend having something that covers your workspace. I like to use leftover paper grocery bags to cover my work area because I can just recycle them after I'm done. I just worked in sections, laying down several squirts of glue at a time and then pressing down bunches of the moss. Since the moss is in clumps, once part of it is glued down, there isn't a whole lot of fall off, so that's good. This step was really easy and came together pretty quickly. At first I thought I would just do the front beard part, but then decided to go all the way around the back to make it look like his hair. After all the moss was laid down, I went back with my scissors and trimmed around the bottom and then trimmed off the excess. I didn't want them to look too clean cut though. After all, they're supposed to be scraggly old gnomes. I thought my gnomes needed a little embellishment for their hats, so I decided to make some little flowers out of burlap. I recently saw a tutorial on JV's Crafty Corner, which I can link in the description box below, on how to make these cute little flowers. She used glitter foam paper in her tutorial, but I thought I would use this burlap scrapbook paper for a more rustic look. You could also use burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree for this. I started out by tracing 5 circles that were about 2 inches in diameter. Then I cut each one in half to create 10 half circles. These will be the petals to our flowers. Next, I folded the pieces in half with the burlap side on the outside. Then I folded each end back toward the middle crease. This forms an accordion style group of creases, almost like a folded paper fan. Next, it's time to glue. Add some hot glue to the back side of the middle crease and hold it together. Then add glue to each side and fold the outside edges in. Once the glue has cooled, you can fan out the pieces to look more like petals. Then repeat. It takes about 5 petals to form one flower, so I did this with all 10 pieces. Glue the outside edges of the petals together to form a circle. I found that the outside edges had a tendency to bend forward, making it form a point in the back. I wanted it to be more flat, so I added some glue to the middle on the back side and bent the outside petals back while squeezing the middle together. This worked to flatten the flowers a little more. Then I just added some brown buttons from my stash to the middle to complete the look and used hot glue to fasten the flowers to the hats. And here they are on my kitchen counter. I just love how these turned out. Their rustic style gives a little woodland twist to my farmhouse decor, which I love in the winter because I generally like to follow nature and don't have a lot of florals this time of year. So, as promised, I decided to show some of the pieces I picked up from Volunteers of America. I'll start out with these 2 great dishes I found. They were each marked $1.91, so I got them both together for that same price. I think I'm going to paint them black, which isn't my typical style, but I thought they'd look neat with some succulents in our bedroom, so that'll be a little bit more masculine for my hubby. Next, I got this wood container for 45 cents. I'm not sure if I'm going to paint it or just use it as is, but I really couldn't pass it up for that price. I think it would look really nice with just some greenery. Next, I got this little wood picture. I grabbed it because I liked the layered effect with the 2 wood pieces on top of each other, as well as these grommets it has in the corners. These will really come out if I paint this and distress it. I see using it for another monogrammed sign or something like that. This was marked $2.92, so I got it for about $1.50. Next was this great vase. It was marked $6.96, so I got it for about $3.50, but it had the original price on the bottom of $34.99. I actually like the style of it with its green and yellows, so I may leave it as is, but hopefully I don't get hate mail if I end up painting over it. And then there was this cool bourbon box. You'll see the price of $3.93, so I got it for just under $2. I was pretty disappointed that they marked it right on the front with this blue pen, but I'm hoping that maybe I can sand it down to minimize that and then stain it a slightly darker color. I hope to avoid painting it because I like the original branding on it, and I think this would look really nice with either some grasses or some succulents. Next is this cute wood tray with leaf carvings. I got it for just under $1.50, and I think I'll use it for some sort of sign. This is the only item that I don't have a specific vision for though, so maybe everyone can weigh in on this one. Next is this large mirror I got for $4.50. Sorry for the reflection of my light and camera. I've mentioned before that I think my plan for this summer is a nautical theme, and I thought the frame kind of had this porthole feel to it, so that's probably the direction I'm going to go with this one. And finally, I picked up this cool vase that has this wire embellishment around it. It almost looks like netting or even fish scales, so I'm probably going to leave it as is and it'll fit right in with that nautical theme. Then I hit up the boys' clothes to scope out any dry fit type clothing for my boys. My oldest has a lot of sensory sensitivities and will only wear the slinky dry fit type stuff, which is super expensive when purchased new. So I always look for good condition stuff at the thrift store. This time I found 4 different sweatshirts that will probably work for both boys. They're only about a year and a half apart in age, so they wear close to the same size in most things at this point. These are usually marked $4 to $7 even at the thrift store, and some of them even have the security tags on them, which is a telltale sign that they are a hot find at the thrift store. I scored on the Air Jordan one for Tyler, and I think Tommy will really like this blue one because that's his favorite color. So there you have it. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoy the quick gnome project and seeing what I snagged at the thrift store. Don't forget to weigh in on some of my thrift finds in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with my content and see what I end up doing with those thrift finds from today's haul. I also have lots more in store for the winter season that you won't want to miss, so stay tuned for that. See you next time. Bye.